Hey everyone, today Jesus talks traditions. Now when the Pharisees and some scribes from Jerusalem gathered around Jesus, they noticed that some of his disciples were eating with defiled hands, that is, without ritually washing them. So the Pharisees and scribes asked Jesus, "Why are your disciples not living according to the rules handed down by the elders, but instead eat food with ritually unclean hands?" He replied, "Isaiah was right when he prophesied about you hypocrites. He wrote, 'This people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Their worship of me is empty since they teach instructions that are human words.' You ignore God's commandment while holding on to traditions created by humans and handed down to you." Jesus continued, "Clearly, you are experts at rejecting God's commandment in order to establish your traditions. You do away with God's word in favor of your traditions that you have handed on." Okay, so Jesus sounds very negative about traditions here. And so we have to ask, is tradition inherently negative? Well, the problem is it's almost impossible for us to avoid tradition in any sense, right? Tradition just means doing something the same way more than once. In a lot of ways, that's kind of helpful to have structure and ritual and ways of doing things. But the problem that Jesus recognizes here, and one that we have to watch out for, is when we elevate those traditions and even put them above what God actually wants, right? It's fine that we do church in particular ways because that becomes our habit. But what happens when somebody points out that there might be a better way to do it, right? Is our answer, well, that's the way we've always done it, so that's the only right way? Or is our answer, that's the way we've always done it, but is there a better way? I've heard it said that what we really need to avoid is not traditions, but traditionalism. Because traditions can be the living faith of the dead, and traditionalism is the dead faith of the living. Right? It is powerful to hold on to things that people of faith have done before us, that they've given to us, and that can actually give it more meaning. Right? Think about songs that have been singing for hundreds of years. Right? That carries more weight. And yet, if we're only holding on to these things because, well, that's how we used to do it, then that's not really faith. It's actually something dead. And so that's always the question. It's not, are they good or bad? It's, are we willing to weigh them? Are we willing to look at what they really mean? Can we look and see what they actually say about our heart? Because that's why Jesus goes to the prophet Isaiah. Sometimes traditions can be a way for us to think that we're honoring God because we're saying the right things, or we're showing up at the right times, we're going through these rituals in the right way, and it's not getting down to our heart. Traditions can come from the heart. There's things that we celebrate every year. You think about holidays, right? Those are traditions that have a lot of meaning. And so if they can connect to the heart, they can connect us to God. So the question is, can we look at these things? Can we be honest about what helps us grow and what is really just about making us comfortable?